A few things you're going to need before you get started are a smooth 14-foot pole, preferably. Also a soft cotton rope and a rope halter. And we're going to use these later. A couple things that I'd like you to keep in mind when you're working with a Mustang is that the more nervous and cautious you act, the more afraid your horse is going to become. So you really want to take a casual approach to this. So I'm going to take my pole and I'm just going to place it right over the back of her, and I'm going to follow her with it. Now each horse has a bubble around them, and it shows how close you can get to them. And what we're going to do is try to make that bubble smaller and smaller. Now a couple things we're going to look for in the horse is some signs of relaxation and for her to stop moving. So I'm going to just kind of move my stick over in this bubble around her. There, she stopped moving, so I'm going to take it away. What I'm doing right now is releasing pressure. This is her reward for standing still, and eventually she's going to pick up on this. So again, I'm going to go back. And just casually move my stick around until she decides to stop moving. Good. Now I'm going to reward her. Now when I'm giving her a reward, I want to make sure that I turn away from her and take away all the pressure that I possibly can. Every time that I look at this horse, I'm putting mental pressure on her. Good girl. So this time, she's letting me get a little bit closer. We're reducing that bubble. Good. Good girl. That time she decided to face me, which was a sign that she's going to pay attention a little bit more, which was really good. So I have a feeling that she'll be a pretty fair one to work with. Okay, so now that I've been able to get this close to her with my stick, I'm going to go ahead and lay my stick on her. And I'm going to leave this stick on her no matter what she does until she stops. Good girl. Then I'm going to remove the stick. Okay, so once she'll let me place the stick on her without moving her or seeming really nervous, I'm going to start moving it back and forth all over her body. And I want to do this for a span of about 15 to 20 seconds or until I see a sign of relaxation. She doesn't seem to really mind this. Good girl. I'm always going to start over top of her withers, and I'm going to move my stick kind of back and forth. Okay, good girl. But I always want to come back to the withers. An important thing to remember is you're going to pick this spot as your starting and ending point. And once she becomes comfortable with me laying my stick here, then if I'm going to a new area that I haven't touched before, I can give her a reward by coming back just to this spot that she's comfortable with. So my rewards over time will get more and more subtle. Good girl. Also, another good thing to remember is that horses have two different sides, and the brain doesn't transfer. So everything I'm going to do to her on this side, I'm going to have to go back and do it to the other side just the same. And usually there's one side that they will be more willing to work with you on. I'm guessing this is her good side because this is the side she keeps choosing to use me with. So I'm going to expect a little bit more of a challenge getting her to go the other way. And if you'll see my stick is hitting the wall sometimes, that's okay. The more noise and commotion you can expose them to right now, the more desensitized they're going to become. Now, if she's trying to get away from me, I'm going to make sure at this point it's crucial that I stick right with her no matter where she goes And I'm still waiting for a sign. Alright, now she's chose to face me to the side herself. So I have to keep in mind that I'm going to have to start over because she's not as desensitized on this side. As you can see, she's trying to kind of, good girl. Now I released that time because she looked at me. Good girl. Good girl. Which is a sign that she's building trust. So she's pretty good now on her top line. Let me go all the way down her legs. So at this point I'm going to start underneath, and I'm going to start right at the girth line. Good. And then I'm going to make sure, now the girth line is the spot that I've picked to always come back to, so before I release pressure I'm going to come back to that spot. Girl. I'm going to give her a big break there because she was real good, so I'm going to make sure that I'm completely facing away from her. Another thing to think about is I'm going to face my body whichever direction she's traveling. So if she decides that she's going to go this way, I'm going to make sure that my right shoulder is forward and my left shoulder is back. What this is going to do is my left shoulder being back is going to open up room for her to go forward. One of the most important things you need to remember when you're gentling these guys is that you never want to restrict them from going forward. You don't want them to feel trapped because they're going to mentally regress and they'll start to panic. So I always want her to feel like she can get away, and when she chooses to respect me or to give, then she's making a conscious decision to give so. Not because she feels trapped into it and she's afraid. That's going to give you a lot better mind in a horse. Alright, and now that I feel like she's okay with me going all over her body with the stick, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to move myself in a little bit closer. So I'm going to put pressure away from her. Again, I'm going to put the stick back on her. Now I'm going to move just a little bit closer. Now she sees that I moved closer and I didn't harm her, so I'm going to release. Step away for a minute. Now she's getting a little bit curious. Ideally, I'd like her to start taking steps towards me, but I don't really feel like she's there quite yet. And I'm just going to repeat this. And each time I'm going to try to get a little bit closer. Now that time she started moving, so I'm not going to release. I'm going to stay right with her until she decides to stop. Now that she's stopped, I'm going to back away. Okay, right now she's putting her butt towards me. That's a sign of either fear or disrespect, so I'm going to try to get her out of this corner. We're moving forward a little.